welcome. Paul Nashawaty coming to you live from the show floor at AWS reInvent 2025. I'm here with Hong from Akuity. Hi, Hong, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Great. Why don't you introduce yourself and introduce the company?
Yeah, so my name is Hong Wang. So I'm the co-founder and CEO for Akuity. So I have been working on Argo Project for 10 years almost. So I'm the original creator of the Argo Project, and right now I'm the CEO of the Akuity. So we provided the enterprise software delivery solution for our customers. Yeah, good to see you.
So you have your hands full. You have a lot of things going on. Your hands are in a lot of different pots. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of things happening, right?
Yes. Actually, it's an exciting year in 2025. So we added a lot of new capability to our platform. Also, we added a lot of new customers, and also AI is very exciting. So it's not only give us more customers, but also actually make our product better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's at reInvent here. There's a ton of activity and talk around AI. Of
Right.
course, it would be, right? But not just about AI washing things. It's about
Right.
like, here's the new frontier agents, their new Nova plus agents plus core builder, and all the different pieces that are kind of coming together. What are your thoughts on some of the announcements that you've seen on the show floor today?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like right now we reach the era, kind of like look at something very like practical. So rather than, oh, we are running the model, hosting the model, but you're not focused on what is ROI on that. So currently, I think even at us, like we are providing like AI SRE capability on top of our platform now. So it's kind of like it's a very practical problem to help the SRE or platform engineer to be more efficient.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like a common theme, even for the AWS team and us. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, what we see in our research is complexity and skill gaps are the two major barriers for helping anything. So SREs, DevOps teams, platform engineering teams, they're all dealt with a lot of tasks to do. A lot of it has, is taking a lot of their time. A lot of it's maintenance, right? Which slows down a lot of pieces. So I think that automation and AI is really going to help with that. But yeah, so that's interesting. I like that kind of approach and how that works. What is so let's talk about Akuity. There's you have some exciting news that came out today, right?
Yeah, we actually announced that our Akuity platform actually going to beyond the Kubernetes. We started supporting like multi-cloud and multi-region, multi-environment promotion. So we are supporting not just Kubernetes, but also serverless and VMs and also Terraform and OpenTofu. So it's kind of like the common theme we hear from our customers. And the customers actually, they have more, I would say, like a sophisticated environment to manage. So it's not just about Kubernetes. Kubernetes is very important. It's like majority, but they always have something extra. They run in the Terraform script, or maybe deploying something to the VM. And also serverless is very common for people. They kind of running some simple stuff on serverless. So they are looking for a unified solution, actually not just like deploy and promote to the Kubernetes, but also deploy and promote to the other environments.
So this is important, right? Because when we look at the announcements that, as vendors, we look at things and we're saying, hey, we're kind of future looking. We're seeing where the market's going, where the trends are going. One of the things that happens is there's a bridge in the gap between old and new, right? What happens to your heritage environment? How do you migrate from your heritage environment to the next generation? Can you explain or talk a little bit about that with regards to this announcement?
Yeah, I mean, this is the way we learn directly from our customer, like Fortune 500, especially in the financial services. So they always has the like mainframe, but then they're moving towards VM, more like bigger VMs. And now the container technology actually took over. So like more and more services are running Kubernetes, but it's a multi-billion trillion dollar business are actually running. So they don't want, hey, it's not cut over like one night. It's, hey, everything on the Kubernetes is like in 24 hours or 1 year.
Yeah.
It's actually a much longer journey.
It is.
So then they are looking for some solution actually can bridge the gap. It's okay. Well, they think they want GitOps, they want declarative, they believe the Kubernetes is the future, but they still have so many services still running on the VM.
Right.
And which they are using different things to manage it, like they're using Terraform, Ansible, or different scripting to make it work.
Yeah.
So that's what they are looking for, more like a stopgap solution in there, actually can accommodating all different scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I was having this conversation about a maturity model, right, within organizations, and it's there's sometimes a misunderstanding of like, oh, an organization is at a certain maturity. I like to think about it more like the applications are at a certain maturity, because you can have an organization have applications at multiple levels of maturity.
Yeah.
I think that the approach that you're talking about.
I think I totally agree with you. I'm adding on that. It's kind of like some app is like I mean, I hear someone tell us like their application is a money making machine.
Right.
So it's kind of like stable. It has been very, very stable. So they kind of like, oh, do they want to spend so much effort and money actually trying to modernize it? They don't have a strong motivation to do it. They want to keep it as stable as possible, and they want to figure out later. They were moving all the new services to Kubernetes or some like recent service on Kubernetes, but they are not going to touching this service for a while.
Right.
So that's kind of like, as you said, it's maturity. Like when they are still mature, they are they keep pretty stable for now. Yeah.
Right. So all right. Well, let's pivot a little bit. We're at reInvent, right?
Yeah.
We're at this exciting place. There's 60,000 people here. It's
Right.
a lot of buzz, a lot of activity going on. What are your thoughts around some of the announcements that came out from the show?
Yeah, I do think that the AWS actually providing a very strong ecosystem support now. I know the last year is more about Bedrock, you're just running the model, like you can run in the model now. Now they have a much I would say powerful processor plus all the other services to make it working. I know they announced something about Forge about like training. I think maybe that's beyond our reach for now. But at least for the model serving, for the inferencing, I think that is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I think Nova 2, with the announcements that came out, you're right. I think Forge is kind of more future looking for a lot of companies. I think that's like that probably 10% of the companies that are out there doing it. But I think Nova 2 with, with the ability to do policies within the API gateway, I think that evaluations added to Bedrock, that's another piece. Now, granted, I know evaluations are out there, but having it in one platform is nice. It makes it easy, reduces complexity, reduces the TCO, right? So those are kind of exciting announcements. I think the agents plus agent core and Bedrock together kind of tie together. What about some of the other things that I think like frontier agents, especially the ones that it's interesting to this conversation, is the DevOps agents. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's the trend. Basically, the day-to-day operation, actually, the AI is getting more smarter. I think this year also I would say the era of the MCP.
Right.
That's at the beginning of this year, and now people are starting like I would say like it's the adoption curve. Like originally people are kind of like hype about it. Okay, it can do everything. I do think it can do everything, but then people come down to the reality about, hey, what is the practical like use case for it? So DevOps is definitely a very great example, especially I would say the 2024 and 2025 is the year of the code development. Like
I agree.
Like Cursor, all the other solution, Windsurf is already kind of like I would say the superstar in this area. So it's kind of like I'm talking about DevOps and other space. It's in the cycle of the SDLC.
Yeah.
So which is also going to be more like disruptive now.
Excuse me. So one of the things that I put out in my 2025 research was 50% of production code was being generated by AI code, right?
Yeah.
And that was released and delivered in September, August and September timeframe this year. I believe now that number is more like 70%, and in a few months it's going to be upwards of 90%. So that the production code that's being released is going to be auto-generated to some extent.
Yeah,
do you agree?
Totally agree. So actually we have the similar vision. That's the reason why we released the Akuity Intelligence about 2 months ago. I think one big point we also observing is, a lot of the code is being auto-generated or AI assisted, I would say. And there's more applications and more changes, and people are getting more productive. So there's more features being delivered.
Yeah.
So then we are talking about, hey, then the problem is starting shifting to another area. Basically, we are talking about a day 0, day 1. So you're getting the code. So you run it, fine. But who is going to maintain it? Who is handling the day 2, day 3, day 1,000?
Right.
So then you are talking about more pressure on the SRE platform team. It's about how we run it scalable, how we make it secure, how we run it like troubleshooting all the problem. That's where we're thinking, hey, the problem is a little bit shifting towards like the later stage of the SDLC. And that's where we feel the AI SRE capability is very important for the future.
Yeah, and I think that it's also important to note that it's that infinity loop. It doesn't stop, right? So it's the later stage of the SDLC, but it's also when something happens, there's actionable insights that get fed back into the cycle.
Exactly. You need that insight. It's not about just like reading your code. You also need to know the runtime system. Like, do I have something broken, crashing? All the information is very valuable. Actually, feed back to the system. So
yeah. So let me ask you a question on this. So like when we talk, right, it's very transactional. I'm going to ask you a question. You think about your response, right?
Yeah.
When agents talk, or talk, right? When they communicate, it's instantaneous. It
Yes.
happens very quickly.
Right.
And the question I have around that is when we look at agents, we have to really trust that they're doing the right things because it propagates very quickly.
Right.
What are your thoughts about how, right now we have a human in the loop, right? For most things.
Right.
Most things. We want to move to more of an autonomous kind of view. What are your thoughts about having agents and, working through the SDLC to have an actionable insight based on something that happens, right? But then produce the log or something that says, here's all the things that I did. What are your thoughts around that?
I do think the human in the loop will still be the trend, at least for the next 5 years ish.
Yeah.
I think the main reason is about the context. So basically, the foundational model is pretty good, has a general knowledge. I'm using the Kubernetes example. So Kubernetes is actually well known. There's enough knowledge in all the foundation model. So when you give some information to the model, the foundation model could give you something very valuable about your Kubernetes health status and everything. But then it's coming to the point is about there's always something special about your infrastructure. So every company has a little bit different understanding about what is the best practice. And every company have some preference regarding how they want to addressing certain issues in certain way. So I think those are very valuable knowledge that has to be kind of feed into the AI in certain way.
Yeah.
So that's also, I totally agree. That's my view. That's why when we're building our AI capability, we actually created this kind of runbook concept. It's nothing new. It's human readable.
Yeah.
It's more like people should write in the runbook and be very specific about, hey, how you want AI to troubleshoot something, and what's the outcome you want to be, and what do you allow the AI to do automatically. So currently, I think there are still this debate. I would say for now, we still want to be cautious. Is about, well, when you're running a multi-million, multi-billion business on that service, like, do you want AI to do some random stuff to change your infrastructure settings?
Right, right.
So
yeah, that's scary at some point.
That's still scary. I think it's kind of like the risk like a tolerance level is not there yet.
Yeah.
And that's why we're thinking the runbook of kind of like interchangeable for the human in the loop concept still there. You want to be specific about what do you allow the AI to do, what do you don't want to allow AI to do. That's where I think the right balance at this moment to make everyone feel comfortable, but you still bring the AI to bring the value to the team.
I agree. I think that what you're saying is the logical building blocks for the next step, the next generation, right? So building the runbooks and having confidence in the runbooks allows for faster time to automation. Right. So once your runbooks are built, you can templatize them and then put them in an automated fashion, and then you're good, right?
Yeah.
You go. So let me ask something different. When we look at the whole solution, it's the technology is a big part of it, but there's a people and a process piece that goes along with this. And one of the things around the people side, I was just recently in a conversation about potentially a generational thing that's going on. And what I mean by that is there are developers that wrote code that have that kind of rite of passage that wrote code and are still very cautious about how things are done with AI, how things are done with automation, how things are done with writing the code. Then there's another generation that's coming up that's just used to code just working, right? Because it works, right? So there's a kind of a little bit of a gap of the trust factor of trusting the automation to work. Do you see that as maybe a generational thing, or do you see that as more of a...
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah.
So I think we can go back to the analogy about people embracing the internet and people are not embracing the internet.
Yep.
So I think, and also even the smartphone. So I think there are periods like people are having a smartphone, people don't have a smartphone. I feel it's more like I would say it's a transient state in the end. So it's more about how AI is getting better and better, very, very knowledgeable. So I'm not saying that the hardcore knowledge is not valuable, but in reality, I think there's a lot of the work can be automated.
Okay.
So I'm talking about generating the API or adding some a small simple API about doing a certain functionality. I do think those things will be fully automated in the future.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
I agree, and I think it's just you're going to accept it because here's the thing: if you don't, as an organization, accept that,
right,
and your competitors do, they have a competitive advantage.
I do think so, but I do think there are still the different phases because not all the developers are same developer. They are focused on different areas. So since I'm more from the platform team, SRE or platform engineer side,
Yeah.
I do think our side will be more cautious because there's one mistake is not about impacting one API. It's actually impacting the whole application.
Right.
That's why I think there will be a trend about, hey, I think more I would see in the front end or maybe in some back-end service, like application development side will be disrupted first. But the infrastructure side, I think will take slightly longer to make everyone feel comfortable.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
We're sitting here and at reInvent 2026 next year, a year from now. What do you want to see happen between AWS, what you're doing, and how it all kind of comes together? What do you think the future looks like in the next year?
That's actually I cannot predict it. It's actually like every year is so different. Like
Right.
MCP is very new this year. So what I'm thinking about is I feel the AI still have a lot of challenges about the ROI. It's kind of like the model is expensive, the inferencing is expensive, and there are a lot of AI companies are still struggling about, hey, do I produce enough value or money, like actually to justify my cost?
Right.
I think there's still a lot of challenge there, but I think next year those challenges should be more eased up because I think the model or serving could be more cheaper,
Developed and yeah.
and also the computation like contention there like it should be more like eased up there.
Yeah.
And also people are exploring more in a different direction. I would say in the product is originally people are thinking about, hey, this is a chatbot or user interface who can do everything. I was thinking it's more about like AI should be more, I would say practical. It's like getting more very to the point scenario to be embedded into your product, so people can like easily getting the value of it. So rather than it's like a little bit more free form in certain cases. So that's kind of like the trend I'm anticipating will happen.
I think you're right on. It's directionally the right way it's going.
Right.
So, all right. Well, what would you advise our audience to do? We talked about a lot of different things, SREs, automation. We talked about what's happening at reInvent.
Right.
What would you advise the audience to go to learn more about what we're talking about?
I definitely think check our website. So checking our products. So we are providing the enterprise software delivery solution. So if you're looking for managing a sizable infrastructure, definitely you won't miss Argo City for sure. And you shouldn't miss us also, Akuity. So we are the original creator of the product. And also definitely I would recommend everyone started embracing more about AI. I know it's already everywhere, everyone's thinking about it, but I do think that AI will be fundamentally changing how you interact with everything.
Yeah.
So it will be everywhere. So.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining me today, and thank you for your insights. It really is powerful to understand what's happening in the future of where it's going.